fighting for? Why can't people help people? That's the question.
Oh my gosh, it's people helping people!
Tonight's episode of People Helping People Live is sponsored by Mike Silkowski. He's your local partner in getting your message in front of the right people. Mike specializes in helping businesses right here in Southern Arizona reach their ideal customers through TV and streaming services. He's not just sponsoring this chapter 3 of People Helping People, he's building partnerships, and he doesn't succeed unless you do. If you're ready to grow your business with someone who's invested in your success, call Mike at 515-305-5311. Again, that's 515-305-5311. This episode of People Helping People Live is sponsored by T-Town Boxing, Tucson's home for boxing, kickboxing, and recovery classes for all ages. From kids to adults, beginners to experienced fighters, T-Town Boxing offers a space to grow, train, and challenge yourself. So if you're ready to push your limits and join an amazing community, reach out to T-Town Boxing on Instagram at instagram.com/T-Town Boxing or their website, boxingtucson.com. Again, that's instagram.com/T-Town Boxing or their website, boxingtucson.com. This episode is sponsored by the Diabetes Network of Arizona, a community built by people living with type 1 diabetes for people living with type 1 diabetes. They host Arizona's only family camp for type 1 diabetics, giving kids and family a place to connect, learn, and feel understood. Every dollar raised stays right here in Arizona, helping local families get the care and supplies that they need. No one should ever face diabetes alone, and with your help, they don't have to. You can make a difference today by clicking the donation link in the description. The Diabetes Network of Arizona, building a stronger, healthier Arizona together. Let's get back into the episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another amazing episode of People Helping People. Yeehaw! Feels good. Oh man, you know, something so incredible about this show. I get excited every time I put these headphones on. I get the little jitters, little butterflies, and I'm just excited to be here. So if it's your first time joining us, welcome to People Helping People. And understand that this is a live show. You get to be involved in a podcast, which is something that makes this exciting. So if you are here for the first time, understand that your questions, your comments, your feedback will make it into the show. So leave those down below in the comment box and we'll get to you as we go. Also, let us know where you're listening from. If you're new here, let us know. And anybody else that's coming back to join us, welcome back to the family. Welcome back to the community. We're happy to see you. And yeah, we have an exciting show, but this one's for you guys. Yeah. Feels good. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to waste any time. We have an extremely exciting episode for you guys this evening. The person that we have on the show tonight wears many hats. He's a jack of all trades, and I feel like that is a common theme on this show. These people that are really making a difference in their community, really striving for more than the status quo, pushing the boundaries. And our guest today is no exception. He is incredible. He is not only an author, not only a fellow podcaster, but an entrepreneur and an inspiration. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our friend, Aaron Wexler. Yeehaw.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Love it, man. Appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Welcome to People Helping People, man. And for the people that don't know, I gave a little brief introduction. We just scratched the surface, I'm sure. But go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah. Again, Alexander, my name is Aaron Wexler. I'm so happy to be here. I host a podcast called Within the Game. Just about to publish my 100th episode. It's been 5 years. So kudos to you for what you're doing. I'm a fan of your show. I actually really love the title of your show, People Helping People. I think that's awesome.
Thank you.
I run a offline business called WestCoast BEACH, a youth beach volleyball club in Santa Monica. We're in our 11th year. And yeah, you mentioned I wrote a book called The Inspired Athlete. I also just released music on Spotify. So yeah, like you said, wearing a lot of hats, but having fun with it all.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. And it is so crazy. Like when I dive into these conversations with new people and I have you sitting in front of me and talking about all these different endeavors, like you've really found purpose in what you're doing and you're really doing things that you love. And that is so inspiring. And I'm curious, was it always like that?
Haha. No, it was not. You know, I'll share a little bit about this and just cut me off if I'm rambling. I just got done doing a recap of my 100 episodes earlier today. And in that recap, I mentioned how I was the uninspired athlete for a long time. I was uninspired. I was kind of almost on the verge of depression. And there was
What
this
sport
moment
did
in
you
my life.
play? Sorry to
What's that?
cut you off. What sport did you play?
Yeah. I was a baseball player to start, and then I found beach volleyball, kind of ran with it, ended up playing volleyball at UCLA and played a little bit on the pro beach volleyball tour.
Nice.
And yeah, like there was just this moment where I just was like uninspired, just kind of over it, kind of done. Just like, I was just like, yeah, I was bummed out. And I remember going down this road of like, what am I doing? I don't want to do anything. I was very apathetic at that time. And yeah, fast forward, to about 5 years ago, I completed my book. 5 years ago is when I started the book process, and I completed it in 2023. But the book was like the opposite of that. It was like, what's the opposite of feeling bummed out and down, like uninspired, right? The opposite is
Love
the
that.
inspired athlete, the athlete that wants to move and breathe and go for it,
So let me break that down because
Yeah.
I feel like there's, for one, I'm a volleyball alum. I grew up with a
Okay.
grass volleyball court right next to my house, and
Let's
the
go.
whole neighborhood would come through. We'd be barbecuing, they'd be throwing beers back, playing volleyball every single Sunday. So shout out to volleyball. That's
That's what's up.
yeah, that's close to my heart there. But man, when you're talking about those feelings of being uninspired to really do anything. I mean, some people would deem that as a depression
Yep.
or, there's clinical terms for that, but not feeling motivated.
Yeah.
When you decided to write that book of the polar opposite, was that therapeutic for you to put your mind into the inspired individual?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, man. I love sharing about this. And again, I appreciate this opportunity because I feel like it's so relatable. Um, I'll just share this, that there was a moment where I was kind of in that place, that dark place, that depressive place, that apathetic place. There was a moment, and this might sound strange, where it was in the middle of the night. I was sleeping and I like woke up like this, like full on, like it was like this download. And I just woke up. It was like 3:30 in the morning, and I like sat up, like in bed, and it was like this nudge, just like voice that was like, "Hey, remember that pyramid that you made? Like, go write a book about that pyramid." It was like this nudge, and I'll never forget that because I was like, "What was that? What was that?" And I remember going back to bed, and I woke up the next day, and I just said, "Okay, whatever that was, let's go then." I don't know how to write a book. I've never considered myself an author or considered myself someone with a message to share. That was never me. I was like an athlete. I was coaching, and I like coaching, but I was just kind of going through the motions. And yeah, and so long story short, I just followed my intuitive nudges after that. That was like a big intuitive nudge, like a download, so to speak. And happy to share more, but yeah, that's kind of what sparked that whole process for me.
That's incredible. I mean, it's listen to your gut, right?
Yeah.
Like when I hear you talking about that, I feel like so many individuals, they do get those nudges and they do get this random, overwhelming feeling of inspiration and don't act on it.
Yeah.
And for you to wake up in the midst of the night, having this lull in your life for such a long time, and all of a sudden there's this invigorating spark,
Yeah.
but to jump on that. Now, I want to go a little bit through the process of writing the book itself.
Yeah.
Now, when you started writing the book, because it was the polar opposite of how you were feeling at that time, did that help you to get through those moments of what it looks like to be the inspired athlete again? And in feeling that hopefully when somebody picks this up, when the magnum opus is complete, right? This is the life's work. Everything's boiled down to this moment of writing this book. Did it help you to overcome the feelings that you had prior?
100% it helped me. I mean, it helped me so much in so many ways that I can't even explain here and now. But what I will share is that it's cathartic. You know, when you start writing, if anyone's listening to this and they're like, yeah, writing, whatever, that's not me. I would just encourage you to start. There's something called automatic writing, which I learned. And shout out Michael Sandler. He taught me about this. But automatic writing is kind of like free writing. You're just kind of not doing any spelling or grammar or syntax or all the fancy writing words. You're just writing. And automatic writing is like you're open to a download. You're open, like, so basically you get into a meditative state, and that is really, really helpful. It's not easy to do, but if you get into a meditative state, you're able to receive. And that has been extremely helpful. So yeah, it was huge. And you know, the other part is that all the insecurities come up too. For me anyway, I'll share that. Like, I'm not a writer, you know, like all that negative voice, like, I'm not a writer. I don't have a message to share. I don't even know how to write a book. I don't know how to publish. Like, this seems too daunting. I don't have a budget. Like, all that stuff came through, you know? And it wasn't until I found a writing coach that actually catapulted me to the finish line.
Wow. How on earth? Okay, I feel like everybody getting into a meditative state is such a different process for every unique individual, right?
Yep.
How do you personally get into that meditative state?
That's a great question. And it's not easy for someone who's a creative like me. Like, when we started this, it asked for title, and I almost wrote in entrepreneur, but I actually typed in creativepreneur because I feel like that's kind of who I am. And as a creativepreneur or a creative, we're all over the place. You know, it's like, it's actually difficult to focus sometimes, because we have this creative energy and it wants to move, you know?
Yes.
But how do we get into the meditative state? Well, I do believe it starts with an intention. You know, it's like, okay, I want to quiet down my own noise. I want to quiet down my own mind, and I want to be available for something bigger. So I think it really does start with that intention. And then it's just about breathing, you know, just slowing the heart rate down. And even honestly, it's also about non-judgment, right? Because maybe this is relatable to you too. Like, we tend to judge ourselves, even like the thoughts that come through, like, oh, I don't need to think about that right now, or why am I thinking about that? Or, you know, whatever the judgment may be. I think getting into a good meditative state is watching. You see the cloud behind me. This is a photo I took. Watching thoughts like they're clouds, as well as the emotions. Like, the emotions come up. I'm tired right now. Okay, that's cool. Let that pass. I'm anxious right now. Yeah, that's cool. Let that pass. I'm really relaxed right now. Yeah, that feels great. But also let that pass. Right. And like, there's a quote, this too shall pass, right? This moment will pass, and it's okay. And whether it's a good or a bad or whatever the thing is, it's going to pass. And I think just watching the thoughts and the emotions like clouds in the sky, I think has really been helpful for me to get into that meditative state.
Wow. I love what you said there about casting judgment on yourself. And a common thread within this podcast has been to give yourself some damn grace. I've had such incredible minds on here, and we are so hard on ourselves as individuals, as professionals, and in relationships, whatever it may be. There's this self-critic, this self-talk that is so loud and daunting. Like, how do I slay that dragon? You
Mhm.
know, it feels like a lot. And for me, I know when I try and enter a meditative state, I get like 4 breaths in, and then all of a sudden I'm like, well, you know, that
Mhm.
the car needs a wash, and there's garbage in the garbage can right now, and it's like all these things, and it is inspiring to hear another creative say that it's not easy. You
Oh
know,
man, it's challenging, brother. I mean, here's a tool. Start saying it's easy.
ah,
Because you know what you mentioned self-talk. I have a chapter on self-talk in that book, and it's like these are beliefs. You know, it's challenging is a better way to say it's not easy. It's challenging, and then if it's challenging, I'm up for the challenge. So that's just one little reframe that's been helpful for me. Another thing that I can maybe suggest to you and the listeners is taking a walk. A
mm,
walk is a great way to find the meditative state too, because you're elevating the heart rate slightly. So you're getting that blood flow, which feels awesome. You know, that's another way to find your way to that meditative state or the zone, you know, or thrive state. You know, and then you can kind of allow inspired thoughts to come to you and allow them to pass, but you can decide when to take inspired action from those inspired thoughts.
oof. I love that, man. Well said. You landed that plane so well. It's now, are you walking with or without? And I feel like I'm just selfishly getting advice from you, right? And
No,
that's
it's
what I
all
love
good.
about this. And I hope that the audience is going to be taking something from this as well, because you know, we as creatives, we do have minds that are nonstop. Now, when you're walking, are you walking with headphones? Are you putting on frequencies? Is there therapeutic music, or is it just you, no headphones, nature, the world around you?
It's a great question. I kind of knew you were going to ask me that. I could feel that coming. No, it's good because I was going to say, you know, okay, let me say it like this. 80 to 90% of the time, I am walking with the phone. I'm listening to music. I love music, man.
Mm,
Music just does something to me. I love affirmations.
mhm.
I love podcasts, right? I love kind of consuming content. But about that 10 to 15% of the time, I actually purposely leave my phone at home. And there's something called awe that I really would like to share right now in this moment.
Yeah.
And that is simply being in awe.
Mm,
And if you can drop into that, the best way to do that is to just be without tech and look around in nature. And this might sound a little weird, but like if you can actually hug a tree,
mm,
you can actually feel that awe. And really what I mean by awe is just like, wow, like it's like a bigger perspective,
mm.
you know. Yes, I have that creative energy. Yes, I got the to-do list. Yes, I got that email that I got to get back to. Yes, I got the yada yada yada. But man, at the bigger picture is we're on a rock floating around a star in the middle of space. And there's an awe to that. And that's I think that should be I mean, part of my day is remembering that and being in awe, and that immediately gets me to gratitude to be a
Oof.
part of that, you know?
Gosh, I love what you just said there, to find your awe. And that looks different for everybody, but this world is full of frequencies. We are vibration. We all in this, you know, we're about to tap into some music, and gosh, I'm getting excited. But the thing is, like you were saying, and I miss being at the beach so much, to be able to do exactly what you're talking about, and getting my toes in the sand and getting pushed around by waves, holding my breath and just looking underwater and feeling the salt on my face, and oh man, do I miss that so stinking much. And I love Tucson, don't get me wrong, but it can be hard sometimes to find that escapism and that frequency and that awe that you're talking about. And
It
it
can
could
be a
be
challenge, man. Like I just before this, I took a bike ride just to kind of get my chi going,
mm,
my energy going. And I can really find that when when I elevate my heart rate a little bit. But I want to also admit that I'm in this thing all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I find myself scrolling. I'm not in awe all the time. I'm not like fully like dropped in, to like nature and all the things I just mentioned. I'm not like that all the time.
Sure.
But going back to your question about finding that meditative state, those are like tools that help me. But yeah, no, I'm like all of us. I find myself scrolling. I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah, it happens. It gets the best of us for sure. But I wanted to kind of piggyback on what you said because I feel like everybody speaking English that's listening to this all speaks a different language, which is an odd thing to say. But you have the emotional side of things, you have the analytical mindsets, and a lot of self help books that you read. They'll be saying the same thing through chapter and chapter. And I feel as though I can kind of tap into a lot of these different languages and kind of get the gist of where the book is going by, the first few chapters there. But I had a hypnotherapist on the show, and he was stating exactly what you just said about changing the frame in which you say something
Yeah.
to yourself, to the world, because in my opinion, words are spells.
Yeah.
They call it spelling for a reason, and we are casting them consistently.
Yep.
What we say is truth. And that is so, so powerful. And so one thing that he told me that I really loved was when I'm talking about something that I may not be great at, instead of saying that I'm bad at that, I'm working on getting even better at X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And those little shifts in your mind, and I've been practicing, my audience knows I've been practicing that as we're going. So while we're on that topic, go ahead, hit the like button because I'm getting even better at doing these calls to action. Subscribe to the channel if it's your first time here. Hit the notification bell if you don't want to miss a show. I love you guys. And yeah, I'm getting even better at those calls to action. So that's something we're all working on here. Yeehaw. Well, I feel like we've dove into a lot of the personal development side of things, and I want to talk about your book a bit. Let's break that down. Who's your book for?
But before we do that, just backing up a little bit, what you said about the self-talk, that's NLP, that's neuro-linguistic programming, and it all begins with awareness. So I just want to give you some recognition to be aware of that is key. Change begins with awareness, right? So yeah, just if you start this, if you find yourself, and this happens to me all the time, I find myself saying that's not easy. And then, but now that I'm aware of it, I'm like, well, maybe it can be easy. It's challenging right now, but maybe it can be. So I just wanted to throw that in. But yeah, so the book is for my 12-year-old self. I'm in my early 40s now, and I wish I had the knowledge that's in that book when I was 12. So I really wrote that for my 12-year-old self, and then any other person, kid, specifically a youth, a youth athlete, but anyone who is interested in tapping into their inspired athlete energy, that's who this book is for. It's not just for a competitor. A lot of people have said, "Oh, that word athlete, I'm not that." What I say to that is like, if you have a human body and you woke up today and you took a deep breath and you felt the power of the human body, that's the inner inspired athlete. And if you can take that and run with that and explore that and be curious about that, that's who this book is for.
Wow. Let's dive into it then. Give me a quick breakdown. Give me a synopsis because I feel like I understand who the book is for, and I want to know what I'm going to be getting out of this book.
I really appreciate this, man. This is cool. So I'll share this with you. I don't know if the camera will pick this up, but this is the pyramid of inspired living that I made.
Ooh.
And what this is, and I can send you a copy of it, but what it is basically my play on John Wooden's pyramid of success. And John Wooden is a famous basketball coach at UCLA. He's got a statue outside of Poly Pavilion, and he made this famous pyramid called the Pyramid of Success. And I looked at it every day. It kind of gets in your head. It's part of the culture at UCLA. You see it it's painted huge on the outside of the gym. And I always looked at the top, and the top of his pyramid was competitive greatness. And that's awesome. I love that because that's helpful for creating success, in a game or in business.
Mm.
But I always kind of questioned it a little bit. I was like, is that the top? Is that really what we're going for? We're going for competitive greatness.
Mm.
That's cool. I just didn't think it was the top for me. Like the top for me is a trajectory of inspiration. I don't think there is a top, like the peak. It's like this never ending peak, but the trajectory of where I want to go with my life, I want to live a life full of inspiration. I want to be surrounded by people who want the same thing. And collectively, I want to raise the tide together, and help leave a beautiful, a beautiful mark on the planet, and actually help co-create heaven on earth, because I think that's a great trajectory. Competitive greatness, like I said, is a great thing, and I think it's pretty close to the top for me. It's up there. It's on that second row.
Yeah.
But that trajectory that I'm talking about is the breakdown of that book. So each chapter in that book is a block on that pyramid, and it leads to this idea, this concept, this just mind frame of what does living an inspired life really mean.
Oh, gosh. So good. So good. Come on, man. So when we break that down, I want to ask one more question before we switch up topics here.
Yeah.
We talked about the inspired life, and I love what you said there about collectively raising the tide.
Yeah.
Great. I'm putting that in my toolbox. Thank you. Come
Yeah.
again, because that's so good, bro. So what does success look like for you?
Ooh. Success looks like, wow, that's a great one. Success looks like knowing that I did my best. It's a feeling more than anything else, right? Success, like going back to John Wooden, he calls success peace of mind, knowing that I did my absolute best to be the best version of myself in that moment, right? Whether it's on, the athletic field or the court or in business, like it's more of a feeling than a metric, right? It's like an emotional state. That's success. And, carrying that further, success for me feels like impact, like positive impact. Like it's not just about me, right? Like my success is a direct reflection of your success. Like that's success to me, right? Like greatness almost is like the word that comes to mind. Greatness is to inspire the person next to you. And that's straight from Kobe Bryant. Kobe, that's one of my favorite quotes from him. Greatness is to inspire the person next to you. It's not to score the most amount of points. It's not to win the most amount of championships. Those are great things too. Those are great. I love that. But greatness, success, like that feeling is like bringing up someone else, And so like, if we can inspire one person from this conversation right now, that would mean like I tapped into success, or we did collectively. Cause that's really what I would like to put out there more. It's not just about me, it's not just about my ability to write a book or to publish 100 episodes or to put out music. Those are all cool things, and I'm proud of those things. And, but it would feel more successful to know that someone else got inspired by that.
I love that, man. I love that. And I feel like you and I are on the same wavelength when it comes to that. And I feel like it's so, so important to kind of peel back this veil of what success is supposed to look like and feel like, because like you said, I think success is a mindset, and it is a collective. It is an emotion, and it is different for absolutely everybody.
Yeah.
Your success could be that you come home and you get to do the things with your family that you love to do. Your success could be, and I'm always looking at the people that I grew up with in my home state that are still there. But thinking when I was younger, man, I'm out here traveling, doing all these things, and I'm learning life experiences, and I wish that everybody would just get out of there, go do it. But now as I'm getting older, I'm realizing that they're finding their success and love of their families and working their jobs. And that is like,
I mean, that's success too. I want to mention my business partner, Travis Schoonover. Like, I feel success every time, we show up and we've created a culture of success. Like that's success. It's a feeling when I show up to WestCoast Beach. Like I said, it's a beach volleyball club in Santa Monica. We've been doing it 11 years, but the last couple practices, I call them inspired practices. That's a feeling of success. When you look around and you see everyone that's bought in to the culture that you're creating, that's success. That feels so good. There's not too many people that can relate to it, because like they just show up to practice like another day or whatever. It's like, okay, cool, this is a good use of time. For me, it's like, let's go, we did it, we're doing it.
Yes.
Like that's success.
Yes.
That's why I love that question. It's a beautiful question.
Yeah, and I when you say that, it makes me think of Shia LaBeouf. There was that old video where he's like, "Just do it," and I feel like that so often. Like I just want to shake people to just go do something. Like you got this.
Yeah.
If there's something that drives you, if there's some passion, if there's a small little spark, explore it. Explore it, because that could be your version of success. And I am so grateful that all of my life of crazy experiences and endeavors and failures and successes have led me to this podcast, to be able to sit down with people and have the types of discussions that I love to have, because small talk just wasn't for me.
Right. No, I commend you. Like this is success right here, by the way. The fact that you went for it, the fact that I went for it, like we're going for it right now, right here together. Like I call it GFI volleyball. When the kids are out there, like, are you playing GFI volleyball or are you holding yourself back? GFI is go for it, allowing yourself to go for it. And let me share this. Something that maybe you can relate to this. Something I had to really break through in the podcast world with all these lights on and the cameras and is FOPO. It's something called FOPO, fear of people's opinions. And I had that for 20 years with my music stuff. I was like, I'm not a musician. I don't have what it takes to be on Spotify. And I'm a little afraid what someone might think of me. I can admit that, right? When someone, Dr. Michael Gervais, I always bring him up. When he told me about this idea of FOPO, he calls it the #1 constrictor to greatness or success. It's being afraid of someone else's opinion about you. And once you recognize that, then you can freaking blast through that. Because when I did that, when he shared that, I was like, dude, oh my God, you're right. That's a huge light bulb moment for me. Then you can name it and you can like say, I don't need that anymore. It's not even discarding it. It's not that. I used to think it was discarding it. No, it's actually blasting through it.
Gosh, that is so true. It is so true. And it is such a catalyst to a lot of people just stepping into it. And one thing that I really wanted to embody and embrace in this is show people. They go back to my first episode right now. You will see and hear a difference.
Yeah.
There has been progress made. And it's hard to see sometimes when you're in the weeds and you're doing the work and you don't realize that you're making progress. And gosh, it's okay to fail. It's okay to be bad at something. And people will critique me. And that's okay too. Like, bring it on. Let's hear what you got to say. Like, I'm here for that. I would like to be critiqued, either negative, positive, or otherwise, I do want to touch on something though. Angela C is out there and she says, inspired right here. Welcome in, Angela.
Let's go.
That's what it's all about. Beautiful. Thank you for joining us. But let's go ahead and turn the tides, man, because there's a lot to dive into. And I feel like I could just sit here and talk to you for hours, right?
But just real quick, the same with me for my first episode, by the way. Like I was reflecting back on my 100, and episode 1, I was so self-conscious. I didn't know like how to use Zoom. I was in my bedroom. So like I was like very vulnerable. Like I was like, are people going to judge me? I got my bed behind me. Like I'm like, and it's like, when you look back on stuff like that, you can kind of laugh now. But like, if anyone else if that resonates, let us know, by the way, if that resonates. But if it does resonate, like, become aware of it and then make a decision to say, I'm going to go right through that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well said. Let's talk about your podcast, man. Let's break that down. 100 episodes. Hold on. That is no small feat. To be doing something for 5 years, blood, sweat, and tears. Podcasts, there is a lot of background work, which a lot of people don't see. And I feel as though longevity is one of the hardest things. Consistency is one of the hardest things when it comes to starting a podcast. So let's talk about your podcast, man. Break it down for us.
Would love to. I appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, it's called Within the Game. And the whole premise is like, as coaches and athletes, so much goes on within a game that we don't really have time for. We're always focused on winning. We're always focused on results. Even fans are like, yeah, get through the game. I want to know who wins. So I was thinking, okay, let me get within the game, and not just a volleyball game or a basketball game or a sports game, the game of life. And let me explore that. Let me explore all the things, the psychology, the emotions, the tactics, the strategies, let me explore all that stuff. So, rewinding back to my book. So this is what happened. So it was in the middle of the pandemic. I knew I had the book project going actually rewind a little bit. Before the pandemic, I was doing interviews at coffee shops for my book. I was interviewing, champions and people that I thought were inspired athletes at that time. And I was picking their brain on what that meant. And then boom, the pandemic, right? 2020, no more coffee shops anymore. And I was a little bit frustrated because I was like, man, I'm right in the middle of this project right here. What am I going to do now? I'll just do my interviews through Zoom. Cool. Awesome. And so then I realized, wait a second, these interviews are fire. What if I could share these interviews before the book comes out? Oh yeah, podcasting. Maybe
that's what they call those.
Yeah, maybe I could just turn these Zoom interviews into a podcast, and that's how I started. That was the foundation. I had the book project going. I just kind of and then I did have a writing coach, and I showed him all my outline and my idea and like what I wanted to do, and he was like, "Yeah, you got something here. This is cool." So that was helpful. So if anyone else, if you have an idea, it's actually kind of nice to get a third-party validation. It is nice. You don't want to be open to too many opinions when you're going through stuff. Working on a creative project, you actually want to limit those, but you want to get, in my opinion, some opinions that you really respect. And in my case, it was my coach, Brian Gruber. Shout out to Brian Gruber. He lives in Thailand. He's awesome. And he really helped me with that. And so then I went on this journey, man. I went on this journey of figuring out how to interview and like asking, right. That was actually before AI and ChatGPT, and that's a good tool for podcasters. But back then it was like learning how to ask questions, learning how to listen. Listening is just such a skill that the whole podcast journey has really helped me. I'm sure you can relate to that, right? Like listening is just going back to meditation, right? Like it's not always about asking. Sometimes it's about just being quiet and listening. So the podcast has really helped me with that. But yeah, man, I've interviewed so many amazing, beautiful people, and they've really helped shape who I am today, quite honestly, through those conversations, and as there's a big prep work, when you have someone on, you want to kind of prep and see what they're all about and kind of how to tap into them and not just tap into them, but tap into their mission. Right. I think that really makes a great conversation when you as the podcaster, the interviewer, can tap into like, I know what you're looking to do. I can sense what you're trying to do. Here's some questions based on that. So it's not just a question for me, it's a question for my audience, right? Here's a big one for you, bro. How can I frame this? A big light bulb shift and a mindset shift going back to the beginning of my podcast was, I don't want to just be a great interviewer. I want to be a steward of audience. I want to be a steward of audience. What does that mean? I want to take care of my audience, man. I want to like, it's almost like a steward on a train. That's the visual in my mind. When the steward walks by, he's not just checking tickets. Maybe a good steward is like, can I grab something for you? Can I bring you something? Do you need anything? That's a steward in my mind, right? I know I'm rambling, but I'm actually a part of this group because I'm a spiritual person called Stewards of Source. It's a men's group. That's been very helpful for me because I want to be a steward of Source, man.
Yeah.
I want to be a steward of Source, which is like a steward of the Most High, you know? So flipping that back to my podcast, that's what I tried to do. And I continue to do that. Can I be a steward of audience?
I love that, man. Gosh, is really incredible hearing other people's stories and not only how they got started, but how things start to develop over time and what it's taught them in the long run.
Yeah.
And I think that you really just embodied it beautifully there. And I feel as though I can relate to everything that you were saying in one way or another. I say on the show consistently how I want to interview as if I was aspiring to do the thing that the person I'm talking to is doing.
Yeah. Cool.
And thank you for saying that again, because I do need to remind myself. I need to remind myself of my purpose. I need to remind myself of me being the vessel that is just shining the light.
That's right.
I'm here to just give you your flowers and make sure that you feel heard and excited about the conversation after we have it.
Yeah.
And, my hat's off to you, man. And doing 100 episodes in a course of almost 5 years of doing it. I mean, it's not an easy task. And I want to dive a little bit into the weeds because I know that we have some fellow podcasters that are part of the community. They're a part of the listeners and they watch what I do, and I watch what they do and we take notes from one another. We constantly are texting back and forth. Does this work for you? Does that work for you? How are you going about this? And it's a really amazing thing. So I feel like I would be doing them a disservice without diving into the weeds a little bit here.
Let's dive, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, let's get it. So when I'm looking at your YouTube channel, I would say that your thumbnails are very calculated, very well put together. Are you outsourcing for thumbnails? Are you, what are you doing for descriptions? Like, walk me through that process a bit.
Okay. Love these questions. And I'm happy to dive into this stuff because when I first started, I had no idea what a thumbnail was. I kind of knew like, it's like the cover thing, but I didn't really know anything about YouTube. So I didn't really start on YouTube. I started the podcast journey through, I believe I started with anchor.fm and then I transferred over to captivate.fm, which is an audio host, and Captivate pushes out to all the audio platforms, including Spotify, which is like the #1 platform at the time, but also Buzzsprout. I mean, there's so many different audio only platforms that are great, And then I found YouTube and I was like, wait a second, YouTube is pretty cool because YouTube is, you're not just adding in a visual component, you're adding in comments, you're adding in potentially ads, you're adding in the partner program, with the ads. You have to get that. I believe it's 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours to qualify. You're adding in other audiences. Like when I really understood YouTube, I went all in on YouTube. YouTube is king. YouTube, and I tell this to other podcasters too. I'm like, go all in on YouTube and let the audio be secondary to all the other platforms. But the YouTube is #1. That's why I'm so glad you're doing this on YouTube.
Yeah.
So the thumbnails, yes, I do outsource those thumbnails. I have an amazing thumbnail person. I do outsource my editing. I have an amazing editor, and no,
that's great.
Yeah,
that's
ask me more.
I love that. Yeah, I love that, and it is such a slow burn. I mean, it's something that you have to learn over. You're like, hold on a minute. Then you start diving into these analytics. Like this didn't, maybe the thumbnail wasn't great, or there's so many things to break down when it comes to YouTube.
Yeah.
And I've had my channel since 2012. I mean, there's if anybody wants to go be embarrassed with me, you can go back to my first video on YouTube of me with a guitar in my little apartment saying, I'm going to start vlogging, and I'm
Oh
like,
man,
I wish I
that's
would have
cool.
stuck with it, but I started then. And then through the production company, just started putting out content. And then as a musician, a fellow musician, I started putting out music videos. And so there's over, I don't know, say 180 videos on my YouTube channel from just going after it. And gosh, man, do you learn a lot? Do you learn
Yeah.
a lot? You really just are putting things out into the ether to a couple of people. And man, was I celebrating those couple of people. When I hit my first, 25, 50, 75, 100 subscribers, yes,
Yeah, that's
we're
cool.
doing it,
Yep.
and it felt
Yep.
so good.
Yep.
But yeah, man. And then you having this podcast have booked some really incredible guests. So, I mean, I would be remiss if we didn't walk down and talk about what you've got going on with that.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm proud of the guests that I have. One day I actually had this idea of like, could I get all my guests in the same room at the same time? That'd be kind of
Ooh,
cool. Do like a cocktail party or something. Because that would be pretty cool.
epic
Um,
roundtable.
yeah, I actually do have. I'll share this publicly. I do have plans to do a live event in Los Angeles next year, and I would have a panel of some of the guests that I've had on, and so that's something to look forward to. But
Yes.
yeah, I've had some awesome guests. A lot of people ask me how I've gotten some of those big names, and I literally just ask, man. I just ask, and I learned how to ask in a really cool way and not overdo the ask. There's a way to ask, there's a way to over ask, and there's a way to under ask.
Mm.
And I think there's an art form in the right way to ask. And I give a lot of that to David Meltzer. David Meltzer is like my business mentor. He's been on the show. He's thriving. And he has taught me how to make a good ask.
Mm.
Right. And I also get rejected quite a bit.
Yeah.
you
You'll get
know?
both.
Yeah. And that's totally fine. I think in the beginning, I kind of took it personal. I was like, really? Oh man. It doesn't feel good to be rejected or ghosted, by the way.
Yeah.
Right. But when someone says yes, that's a pretty dang cool feeling.
Yeah. Take it
And
to
it,
the bank. We did it,
yeah.
I get it. I get it. So what does that look like then? What is a perfect ask?
Mm. Well, the cool thing about having a podcast and a YouTube channel is that you're offering a platform to someone, right? Just like the way you're doing it to me. The way you did it to me was like, hey, do you want to come on my show? And like, I'm like, yeah, thank you, right? Thank you for the opportunity. So I think if you frame it like that, hey, I have this channel, I have this platform. I'd love to invite you to be a guest on the show. That's a pretty cool way to do it. That's kind of the way I do it. I ask as an offer.
Mm,
That's the way to do it. It's not
nice.
just asking for me. I'm actually offering to you.
Yeah.
Right. And
I
I
love
think
that.
that's the way I frame the asks.
That's some nuggets for you guys out there. Come on now. Come on. I love it, man.
Right.
Yeah, and I just feel like there's so many stones here that just need to be turned, and we might have to have a round 2 of this because I want to
Obviously.
dive into the music side of things as a fellow musician. Man, oh, I don't think we even talked. Hold on, let's
Yeah. Yeah.
backtrack.
Yeah.
We
No
didn't
problem.
even get to the guests that you booked and
Mhm.
when it's airing. So let's unpack that for me.
For episode 100.
Episode 100, the
Yeah.
grand finale.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So I have Terrence Howard, Academy Award nominated actor Terrence Howard. Funny quick story. I actually met him at the beach. I met him. A lot of people were asking for selfies. I knew exactly who it was. I'm a big fan of Hustle and Flow,
Mm,
and all his movies, really, Iron Man, all kinds of stuff. But I immediately kind of knew who he was from distance, and I approached him with that ask of that offer,
mm.
and anyway, he gave me his contact info, which I kind of was like, oh, cool. You know, I try not to be like a fan because I told him I'm a fan. I'm like, I'm a huge fan. But anyway, we connected and I shared more about what my show's about. And I'll share with you too. I didn't really mention this, but within the game is also about manifesting and spirituality. And I really like to explore those topics. Winning and champion mindset is a part of it, but manifesting, right? That manifestation, like I'm a big, that's a big part of who I am. I feel like we can all tap into manifesting. So when I heard him talking about that stuff and the interconnectedness of all of us on Rogan, right? That's got 11 million views. I told him in that moment, I'd like to continue that conversation and expand on it. And so he agreed. So I have episode 100 coming out with Terrence Howard very soon. And I'm very excited about that.
Incredible. I put all your links down in the description. I want everybody to go show some love, go subscribe, like, follow, just be part of the communities here because good people need good people. And as we continue to expand and spread our network, all we can do is support one another. And so I encourage anybody and everybody to go over there and support. And gosh, I can't wait for the episode because he is such an incredible mind. You know, I mean, when I listen to him, he is just a next level mental physicist, like just this incredible individual and so unique in his takes on how the world is or isn't.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine.
Yeah, we went pretty deep into that episode, so I can't wait to share. But maybe I could take a moment to also mention Timothy Schultz because he's got a thriving YouTube channel and podcast, and that's my top viewed episode. It's called Manifesting Wealth with Timothy Schultz, and that was cool too because and here I want to share two things about that. Number one, a beautiful, amazing conversation, like just like what you and I are having now. Like I was really connecting with him. He was connecting with me. We were kind of vibing on each other's energy. You know, it's like attractive to watch that from the audience point of view, right? When like two people are like vibing.
Yeah.
So that was part of it. The other part of it is that the episode is going like this. And it continues to do that. And that episode was recorded 3 years ago. Wow. And I want people to really realize that the power of podcasting, or even not even podcasting, just creating a videos for YouTube actually can give you success over time. Whereas all these, these other platforms, mostly the social media platforms, they're like one and done, on to the next. It could be an amazing reel or post, but they kind of get lost in the noise. YouTube algorithms find your own audience for you, and they help you build an audience. And that's really, really powerful. I mean, I could pull up the metrics right now. Someone's probably watching that episode right now.
I love
and
that.
That's powerful,
Yeah.
I wanted to mention that. And definitely check out his show.
Yeah.
Timothy Schultz. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, man. And I just, again, I can't advocate enough for people to go try stuff because, at the end of the day, you would never know the impact that you're making over time, this ripple effect, whether it be within a conversation or just showing people what it looks like to go try something new. When we go back and we look at our old episodes, it's like, oh man, I am making some progress here. And I did jump off the bridge to see if I could do it.
I mean, dude, that one episode monetized me. That one episode out of all the episodes, right? I remember working so hard and like having other beautiful conversations too that I was fired up on that didn't really get too much traction for whatever reason. That one episode just brought me to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours like that. And now it's like I said, the metrics continue to rise. Like it didn't dip ever. It just goes like that. And sometimes it just takes one.
Yeah.
Just one episode can do that, or one music track, or one book, or one thing, one post. Sometimes that's what it takes,
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't know if you're not throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing what sticks.
That's right.
Just keep throwing, man. Keep throwing. I love it. And you did mention music. And again, as a fellow music alum, I put out an album, been making music for a couple of decades now. So when I heard, and I want to say that I'm a bit of a critic, right? When I listen to some people just like, here, listen to my tunes. And you're like, all right, here we go,
Mhm, mhm.
But I listened to your music and I was pleasantly surprised. It took me back. I want to talk about the nostalgia of listening to your music. It took me back to junior year of high school when I was obsessed with buying bookshelf speakers. A lot of people may not even know what that is anymore, but I would go to Goodwill and I would pick up giant speakers, the biggest ones I could find, right? And I would
Yes.
stack them up in my room with a big
Yes.
old receiver in the middle. And I would lay on my bed and I'd have probably way too many speakers hooked up to one receiver, probably 12 of them. I would
Amazing.
lay on my bed and just listen to music.
Wow.
And one artist that I just could not get enough, I mean, there's a lot, but one that stuck out when I heard your music and brought me back to that place was Jack Johnson of that time. The feeling, the vibe, he took me to different places around the world that I loved from my childhood, being on the beach, traveling. I mean, it just always took me to such a great place. And when I listened to your music, I was there.
Dude, that's so cool.
It was so good.
Okay, number one, thank you. Because Jack is like that's like the avatar. Like that's the of music that has really inspired me over the years. So I'm right there with you.
Legend.
Number two, I share that same thing. I love the vibes of music, and it doesn't just have to be Jack. I'm a big jazz and blues guy.
Mm.
I love just the vibes of music, and it just hits differently, synchronistically. You mentioned 12 speakers. That's my number, dude. I wore that number. I love synchronicity. I love celebrating
Wow.
synchronicity. But yeah, that was my number in high school
Really?
and college. Yeah,
That's
12.
epic.
It's a power number, but it's just
Yeah.
funny that you said 12 speakers, because I'm like, yeah, dude. I mean, dude, that, I mean, I'm almost tearing up. That means a lot. I really appreciate that you took the time to check the music out. And I continue to be inspired by Jack. I'm a little bummed. I just missed him. He just came to Santa Barbara and Laguna on like this. Did you check that out? Did you see that at all?
Uh,
Dude, he just did a live performance to his surf movies that he did back 25 years ago, Thicker
oh,
Than
wow.
Water and the September sessions, and he did a live jam. And I missed it because he only released a certain amount of tickets, but he is doing a tour next year. I hope to catch him next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that there's so much synchronicity in the things that we're just saying here
Yeah.
because man, there is just really something to be said about how music carries you into a specific place. And for me, it was about closing my eyes and going there. And maybe that, as we're talking right now, talking through my own meditation, right?
Mm.
Interesting. So interesting. So these little light bulbs and aha moments.
I would just say to that, you can find a way to be in the flow. Like that's a big, I love the flow, or being in a meditative state as you do things. You
Mm.
don't just have to sit and just not do anything. But if you have the intention and feel good about finding your way into a flow state, I think that's awesome. Like one of my recent guests, Tri Bourne, who's an Olympian, he said he meditated his way through a game before. And I just love that. I love that for youth athletes too. It's like just try that in a practice session. Can you meditate your way through a practice session? And then the other thing I wanted to say is celebrate synchronicities.
Mm.
Synchronicities are almost like the universe's way of winking at you. And it's
Love that.
so good. Don't just dismiss them like, oh yeah, that was cool. That was weird.
Yeah.
No, it's like, no, that's a synchronicity, and let's celebrate that. Let's recognize it and celebrate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Gosh, man, I really feel as though, being a fellow musician, I mean, I'm really enjoying this conversation. I want you to know that, and I
Same.
appreciate
Thank
you
you.
coming on the show.
Yeah.
But before we, set you off to sail in the beautiful sailboat that you've built here in your life, I want to talk about your inspiration for your music. I want to talk about your family, friends. Where did your inspiration come from?
Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh man. So, well, you mentioned Jack. I mean, Jack's been kind of at the forefront of my musical inspiration. So it just means the world that my music reminds you of him. That is just,
Took me
man.
to the same place. I would not compare you two, because there's so much nuance to what you do. You have your own sound, your own lane, but it took me to the same place.
That's cool, dude.
So good.
Means a lot. I mean, the ocean, bro. You know, I'm so blessed and grateful and appreciative that I live close to the ocean. I'm like 3 big blocks from the ocean. I'm so blessed and grateful that I've been able to create a business on the sand.
Yeah.
The ocean, the beach has been a huge part of my musical journey. I put it in the background. I put waves in the background of some of my music sometimes. It just carries a special place. There's something mysterious and beautiful and vast and awesome and awe and powerful. And I can go on and on about the ocean. And so I like to tap into that when I create. So that there's, you mentioned family. Yeah, totally. I mean, I tap into the love that I have for my mom and dad and my extended family. And you know, I will share that I will also I've also tapped into pain. I'm sure you can relate to that as a musician, right? Pain is actually a driving factor when it comes to expressing, right? Expressing. And a lot of people don't know this, but like as a creative, like pain and anger and depression and low energy and frustration, those are all things that kind of help us burn our fire. Like it's not just inspiration and joy and love. It's not those things. Those are beautiful things. But sometimes it's pain. It's almost FU energy, right? Which I really don't like to have. I'm a peace and love guy. But sometimes that when you tap into that or you know, messed up stuff that happens in your life and like looking back, some of us musicians, I'd say maybe even most of us, have some sort of event that happened that wasn't desirable.
Yeah.
You know, we now as a spiritual person, you know, now as a evolving spiritual person, I can say that those events are dark night of the soul events. And sometimes those events can really help us tap into that creative energy that comes through, you know?
Can be necessary. Yeah. So
Yeah.
necessary. And those, that melting pot of emotions
Yeah.
is where a lot of creativity can be sparked. And the thing is too, I believe that you understand trying to stretch your mentality, whether it be your vocal range or the tempo in which you're playing, can only come from a place of strife or anger or deep rooted sadness and emotion. And sometimes when you're riffing on something and maybe you just have 2 chords, but you're like, I'm just going to go for this note because it feels good.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that was it. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll share a little bit more about the creative process too, if you have time. I know
Yeah,
maybe
hit
we're
me.
over time a little bit, but when you're surrounded by people that support you, that means a lot. Because the creative journey, just like leadership and the creative journey are similar, where you can feel lonely a lot of the time. Even in this podcasting space, man, you know, yeah, we're surrounded by people and we're like interested in people, but it can feel a little lonely. But what I wanted to say about that is like when you find people that encourage you and nudge you, and it's almost like they're on your team, that's super powerful.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Stefano Bonzi, who's like my producer slash definitely, well, I'm going to say friend first, friend slash producer slash studio owner. And we've, you know, he's produced all of the music that I put out. And he's been an instrumental part, not just of the tech. His ear is amazing, not just on the tech side, but on the belief side, right? It's like, it's important to have people believe in you,
Yeah.
you know, or to remind you like, hey dude, like you can hit that note, or hey dude, like that last little riff was pretty cool. You should try to expand on that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Those little nudges for creatives are key. We like those,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I think there's very well said. Very well said. Shout out Stefano. We see you out there. He's out there inspiring, and you're putting music into the world and the ripple effect of that. And gosh, man, to take what you're saying and give that to others as well. I always, gosh, I think of so many times when I was busking on the street and didn't have anybody just stop for a second,
Yeah,
just did nothing, just glazed over going about their day. And I never wanted to be that person. So seeing somebody on the street, just give them one of these, or just,
right.
if you don't have $1 in your
A
pocket,
hundred
give them
percent,
some
dude.
love, that little bit of something. They're like, okay, I got another hour in me.
A
Like
hundred
everybody else has
percent,
just been walking past. Like I got
dude.
a little more.
I'm so glad you said that, because any street performer, I always try to just give them at least a few seconds, even if I'm not feeling what they're doing.
Yeah.
Just I recognize not just the hustle, but the courage it takes to do that, to
Mm.
put yourself out there, to like that's. I always try to celebrate that. Yeah, and if you can give, that's helpful. But even just to acknowledge a musician, we know that. Like, just as
I
you're
see
going
you.
by and you go like that, or a little head nod, or like one of those,
Yeah.
that's huge. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, man, what songs should people go listen to? What's new? What embodies your work?
Yeah.
What are you excited about? What should people go hear?
Oh man, thank you so much. So I just released a Jack Johnson cover. It's called "Little Bit of Love," and it was a vulnerable song for me because I've released a bunch of instrumentals. I've done a couple vocals, but like this was a big vocal for me, and I'm so inspired by Jack. So I actually realized it's a John Cruz song. John Cruz and Jack Johnson made it famous. You can find the original version on Spotify, but if you want to check out my version, I added in a trumpet. I kind of made a Jack Johnson / New Orleans kind of jazzy vibe together. And then I
It's
kind of put my
good.
own vocal on it. Yeah.
I
So
want to give you your flowers. It's good.
appreciation, bro. Thank
Yeah,
you so
yeah,
much, man. So
yeah.
I just released that. I worked really hard on it. We mixed the mixing process for people that don't understand mixing. Mixing is like leveling, like finding the right volume and the right. That took months for us to get the right mix. And then what you hear now on Spotify and Apple Music is the mix we came up with. And anyway, so Little Bit of Love, that's a cover. It's a John Cruz, Jack Johnson cover. And then I did do an original called Small Waves, speaking of the ocean, speaking of the ocean influence. And I got the same trumpet player, Brian Schwartz, on that one. I'm really proud of that one because that goes back to that little riff thing that you were talking about. I had this riff in my head for so long, dude, for years, actually. I'm like, what am I going to do with this little riff thing? And it transformed into that track called Small Waves. So yeah,
I
those two.
love it. I
Yeah.
love it, man. So where are people searching? We've got a little bit of love and small waves.
Yeah.
What are they punching in? What are they
Yeah.
punching in?
Just my
Spotify?
full name, Aaron Wexler, on Spotify or Apple Music. Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. I'm going to put it up on the screen. Man,
Appreciate it.
this has been an incredible conversation, and I really appreciate you stepping into the people helping people world and community. And with that being said, you are a part of our team, our family. If there's anything that we can give to you, reach out. If I have something to give, I'm here for you.
Thank you
What's
so
mine
much.
is ours, and I just appreciate you coming in. And I feel like, again, we got to run this back.
Oh
We
yeah,
gotta-
let's do
we-
it, man. And I'll, like I said, I'll share this with my community, and I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you for you stepping in and doing what you're doing. And again, I love the title, "People Helping People." That just immediately attracted me to the show. So I appreciate you, and the energy that you're putting out is awesome, dude. Keep it going. And likewise, if there's anything I can do to help you, in terms of podcasting, music, any of that stuff, let me know.
For sure. I appreciate you, man. And ladies and gentlemen, go check him out on Spotify. Go buy his book. Go give him a follow on social media platforms. And we didn't even get into the coaching aspect. The beach volleyball, and oh man, we got some stones to uncover. But it's been an absolute pleasure, and I just loved getting lost in conversation with you, man. So
Likewise.
I appreciate you coming on, ladies and gentlemen. Aaron Wexler.
Thank you so much, y'all.
Take care. Yeehaw. Wow. What an incredible conversation. You know, I just feel so blessed to be able to sit here and pick the minds of incredible people around the world. I'm just honored. I'm honored that they take the time. I'm honored that I have this community here. And by the way, Rich, I see you out there, legend. Welcome in. Thank you for joining us. And man, sometimes you click, you know, and I feel like I've just been so lucky to have the people that we have had on the show. And Aaron is he is one of those individuals that, you know, is captivating the people around him in an incredible way. He's bringing people with him. He's embodying and embracing what people helping people stands for. And, you know, I'm just grateful, man. I'm grateful for his time. I'm grateful for all the wisdom that he shared. And I wish we had more time. So we're going to have to run it back. So I hope you guys stay tuned. If you haven't, this one's for you, Rich. He's the one always reminded me I'm getting even better at these calls to action. Give us a thumbs up. Watch us on YouTube if you're not. Subscribe to the channel. And if you want to know when we're live so you can come in and be a part of the podcast, hit the little notification bell. So in any event, I love you guys. And this was episode number 20 of Chapter 3 called Helping Hands. Next Tuesday, we're going to be volunteering at the Tucson Family Food Project. And then Wednesday, showcasing you guys how you can go get involved in your community if that nonprofit is something that calls to you. So we plan to showcase nonprofits this chapter. And our goal is to raise enough money to hand the keys of a car to a family in need. So we're still trying to figure out how we're going to do that. But dag nabbit, we're on a mission. So in any event, you guys, let's end it for real this time. I love you. We'll talk to you on the next one. We'll see you Monday at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Deuces.
Yeah. What's everybody fighting for? Why can't people help people? That's the question.